Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. OmPrakash Muppirala, who is the head of Fountain India, which is a platform for high volume hiring. Hi, Mr. Om. Welcome to ELI.
Thank you so much, Priyajan. Really appreciate it. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for hosting me.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Absolutely. I'm OmPrakash Muppirala. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Although of late, in the last couple of years, I've been working out of India quite a bit, and we'll get into it how I got here. I have 20 plus years in the software industry, and I'm working for a HR tech platform called Fountain. And yeah, that's about me.
So, Mr. Om, tell us a little bit about Fountain India. What kind of platform it is? What does it do?
Absolutely. So we are a high volume hiring platform, and some folks call us an applicant tracking system as well. One of the biggest differentiators between us and other similar platforms are we cater specifically to high volume hiring. So any company that's hiring thousands of people on an ongoing basis is essentially our sweet spot. A lot of our customers have tens of thousands, and a few customers have actually gone to hundreds of thousands of hires per year as well. So we help companies start from wherever they are, and we help them scale. So we have a lot of customer journeys that we have like helped them grow as well. And typically, when we say high volume hiring in the US, it's typically hourly workers. In India, it's called temp workers or blue collar or gray collar. And again, even in Europe, it has like various names, but the concept is very straightforward, right? Wherever there is a high attrition rate, right? Like, so if you look at retail employees or restaurant employees or in the gig and delivery space, a lot of churn happens on a continuous basis. Right. And there is a lot of seasonality as well. So if you look at the festive season in India or maybe the Halloween, Christmas holiday season in the US, there's a lot of people buying and like gifting, and there's people having get-togethers with their families. So during that time, there's a high seasonality. For example, during the IPL season, a lot of people are watching TV. They don't want to cook. They just want to order food from outside. So there is a peak, right? So companies that are actually delivering food, for example, they need to be able to scale from having 1,000 delivery drivers to 2,000 delivery drivers within a matter of weeks, right? And that is where a high volume hiring platform like ours comes and helps. So when we talk about the characteristics of applicants, typically these kind of high volume hiring, the selection criteria is quite objective versus if you talk about a white collar, let's say a software engineer, the interview process is more like you meet with multiple engineers, you meet with your engineering manager, you have like a 1 hour, either a coding session or they look at your communication skills. It's a very subjective selection process, right? But when we are talking about this kind of hourly blue collar or temp workers, the criteria is like very set. For example, they are binary requirements. For example, are you 18 years or older? Do you have a driver's license or not? Can you drive a forklift? Can you stand 8 hours through the day? So wherever we have these kind of objective selections, what you can do is you can have a higher level rule-based selection process. And this works in the benefit of both recruiters and applicants, right? Like, so when we ask these kind of questions from a recruiter standpoint, anybody who is not qualified will very early in the process be eliminated. For even from an applicant side, when you are posting these kind of requirements, at some point they'll be like, hey, this requirements maybe doesn't suit me for various reasons, and they can self-eliminate themselves. So the requirements become very, very clear. The application process gets very streamlined, and we have a lot of efficiency. So one of the statistics that we always like to talk about on an ongoing basis, one recruiter can handle more than 4,000 applicants throughout on a continuous basis. So these are once again, putting all these together, what we have done is we have built an automation engine, right? Being able to create your locations in bulk, setting up interview process, the workflow, so to speak, and asking these knockout questions, creating a rules-based engine, it is ripe for automating. So we are big on automating. So on a regular basis, if you see across, so we have 200 customers across the world. We support 30 plus languages. Every month, we process more than 1 billion automated actions on behalf of our customers, which is applicants, when they apply, an SMS or WhatsApp message automatically goes out, or somebody moves from a stage to stage from based on a rule setting. And imagine 5 million applicants or 10 million applicants going through the system per month. So every workflow is unique. Customers can come in and set up however they want. As a sum aggregate, we are seeing more than 1 billion automation events passing through our system. So this is how Fountain has been working for quite a while. Since early last year, one of the things we've also started doing is, given that we've been operating from 2014, early 2015, processed like tens of millions of applicants and like billions of messages. We have a lot of data that we have been analyzing. And one of the biggest trends that showed up in our analysis was, whenever you have an application process, and if the applicant feels like their time is being respected, and the recruiter side, the company is being very communicative with them, there is a high probability of that applicant finishing the entire process and then getting selected or rejected or put on hold. Essentially making them go through the entire process becomes much easier when there are meaningful conversations happening between the recruiters and the applicants, right? But it actually poses a very natural problem, right? Because one recruiter practically cannot be having interactive, meaningful conversations with thousands of applicants. Even hundreds is very hard, right? Because once you start doing that, it's repetitive and monotonous. People typically ask same or similar questions in various formats. You recruiters will essentially get bogged down when they have to constantly keep messaging, right? But we do know that the more engaged the applicant is, the higher the chances for them to convert are. This poses a very interesting challenge, right?
Yeah.
How do we increase the number of meaningful conversations while not overloading the recruiters or not having to hire a lot of recruiters and their job is just messaging people back and forth, right? And naturally, what ends up happening is either the recruiters get overloaded and then messages start getting ignored, right? So for example, if a delivery driver applies and they look at their job description, they're interested, their location is good, but they want to know how is your shift policy flexible? Maybe they have something going and they can't work on Thursdays in a week, for example. And then they post a question before they apply. They don't want to waste anybody's time. They post a question, hey, what is your shift policy, or what's your vacation policy? Now, if by chance of all the thousands of applications and like tens of thousands of messages that come in on a regular basis, the recruiter notices it. If they respond, yeah, this applicant will actually move forward. Typically, what ends up happening is these messages are ignored. As a result, the applicant feels disengaged, right? Like they are like, I'm trying to apply. I think I have all the qualifications, but I'm not able to get somebody to respond to me, right? It's a natural problem, right? It's nobody's fault. And that is where we thought, okay, what if we use AI and natural language processing to automatically parse the incoming messages and see if we can provide an AI layer that will actually act as a recruiter's assistant and respond, right? So that's basically where we have been focusing our efforts. We launched a product called Fountain AI. It's a chatbot sitting on top of our high volume hiring platform. It also supports chat through SMS and WhatsApp. You can scan a QR code and you can start a WhatsApp conversation. And I think we are seeing a lot of initial successes. Yeah, that's basically what Fountain has been doing in a nutshell.
Interesting. So, speaking of AI, I think one use case you mentioned, the conversations that happen between recruiter and the candidates, that can be, solved through AI. But what other use cases are there? I wonder involving AI and recruitment. So, one use case I can think of is the uh, virtual avatars that can pose as an interviewer and speak to candidates, and you know uh, the shortlisting can be done by AI. So can you explain what other use cases are there for AI?
Absolutely. We have seen in some cases video. So we support video interviews and video resumes. So essentially, you can as an applicant, you'll see a question that says, "Hey, why do you want to work for us?" Or tell us a little bit more about yourself. And they record a video, a 30-second or 1 minute video clip, and then they just simply hit submit, and then the recruiter will start using it. One of the things, the use cases here is, what if we start automatically analyzing these videos, right? Like I said, like a virtual interview with avatars, but on the recruiter side, are using AI, text to speech, speech to text, and then analyzing your communication skills. How is your language skills? How was your attitude and your facial expressions? So that is definitely a use case we see that's going to become big. A couple of other things that we are also looking at is, like I said, we support multiple customers across various verticals across the globe in different languages. So there are some openings. For example, if you're looking for a waiter or a team member in a restaurant, some workflows, the time to conversion is like very quick. So within 2 days, you're able to do it. Whereas the same waiter going through a very similar process in a different geography or a different country is taking 15 days, right? So we are able to, because we have the data of all these things, we are able to do a higher level analysis and compare workflows and say, here are the characteristics. And again, this is using AI and like machine learning and data science. Here are the best characteristics that we want an interview process to have. For example, if you're asking questions, don't ask them to upload a resume. Just simply ask the questions. don't ask too many questions. If you're asking like 50 questions, people will at some point they'll disengage. Maybe you just ask 5 questions upfront and then make them go through like an initial screening process, and then have an interview, and then throughout the course you can ask subsequent questions, or maybe aggressively eliminate questions, right? Like you don't have to ask every possible question. So it will put people off. There is an analysis using machine learning. If somebody has shown interest in your opening and they've gone like halfway through and then they become disengaged, how do you get them engaged back in the process, right? Like, so how often should you send them a WhatsApp message? How long should you wait until you consider, okay, this person has long? A lot of research is ongoing in this as well, right? Like, so the end result is we will be able to create like the best performing workflows and turn it on for customers by default. So they don't have to do this by trial and error. So we can, when a new customer joins us, we'll be like, okay, you want to hire a delivery driver, or you want to hire a commis in a restaurant. You just need to copy this ideal workflow that we're going to create. And again, this we came up with this based on all our analysis on the best performing workflows. So there are a lot of use cases. It's constantly evolving. One of the things we are also considering is post-employment. How do you measure how engaged an employee is, right? A lot of times we see is customers struggle getting people. First of all, you need to source them. You need to spend a lot of money sourcing. You have to screen them, and then you make them an offer. They join, and within a week they leave, right? Now, what happens in that 1 week that these applicants, these employees are leaving? So we have started doing a post-employment engagement piece as well. So again, very similarly, frequently sending them surveys, do gamification around it, essentially extracting information back. It could be very simple things like how was your first day of work? Were you able to did you finish your training on the second day? Was it easy to find the location of your place? Is your supervisor being nice to you? So we have figured out, okay, in the experience, in the journey that you're going through as a new employee, there are a few milestones, right? So we know that because we have experience working with all kinds of industries. So we have industry specific surveys that we are working on creating, where we make every candidate or in this case an employee go through. And what we do is we start we're experimenting with this concept of a churn score, right? Like, so every employee, we will give them a churn score. Essentially, it's a probability of like, okay, how likely is this person going to stay in your company? Multiple. So once we figure it out, the use cases are like a lot, right? Like, so you can aggregate it on a per location basis. So if you have a district level manager for your restaurants, you can actually, at a location level, you can see, okay, this one location, the churn score is really poor. And then they start digging in and they get to the answer of, my supervisor is not treating me nice, or I did not get trained, right? Now, what is going to immediately show up in this analysis is there is a reason or a set of reasons why people are leaving. We find out using like proper like data analysis. We bubble up those reasons, And these reasons are like eminently actionable, right? Like, so you know exactly what you need to do. It's not just enough if you know what the problem is, you need to know a concrete way to solve the problem. In this case, it could be, okay, let's train the supervisor. We made a team member into a manager very, very quickly. They don't know how to do be a good leader, so train them. Or for whatever reason, the onboarding process is broken, people are not getting trained on time, which is as a reason they're not able to succeed, which is why they are quitting. So we are able to give it at a location level, and then you can start aggregating up. You can do it at a state level, or you can aggregate down. You can go down to employee level to even see, okay, why are some employees leaving versus some employees staying for longer. So like I said, there are a lot of use cases, and we are constantly in the lookout for finding the best cases for implementing these kind of techniques.
Got you. Tell us a little bit on the business point of view, like what are the different sources of revenue we have? How do we make money? What's the model? And where all do we have clients from and all?
Absolutely. Like I said, we started out in the US back in 2015, and we started with a very specialized view on gig economy workers in the US. And we were able to find very similar customers in Europe who were doing gig economy hiring, right? So one of the best parts of working with companies like that was like they were tech companies, they had immediate need, and we were able to work very quickly to build out all the features. So we found product market fit in that area.
Mhm.
And as we grew up as a company, we realized, hey, the hiring problem is not unique to gig; it is universal, right? It is universal in the sense of every kind of company, be it a food delivery company or a manufacturing company or a retail, traditional retail company, they
Mhm.
have the same problem, right? Like they have a lot of attrition. They need to staff up thousands of people, and there is centralized hiring versus decentralized hiring. And again, if you go outside the country, so we started seeing a lot of traction in US, followed by Europe, and then a couple of years ago we started working with customers in India as well. So with India came its own set of issues. So we started supporting. So right now we support 10 different languages in India. We built support for WhatsApp specifically for India because we realized email is not very, very commonly used. Even SMS, two-way SMS is not very commonly used, but WhatsApp is very prevalent. In India, the labor force is more than 500 million, which is more than the
Yeah,
combined population of
correct.
several countries, right? Of this labor force, 350 million plus are in the blue collar and gray collar workforce, right? And typically, pretty much everybody in this segment has a smartphone, and these days smartphones come pre-installed with WhatsApp, right? Like you don't see a phone which does not have a WhatsApp. So it was very easy for us to figure out, okay, to take this product that we built for US and Europe. So we started adding all these functionalities, and once we started talking to customers, relevant customers in India, they love the product. And again, right, like our theory of hiring, high volume hiring is a universal problem. We are seeing that it is actually true globally, right? And for us, the way we are operating is we want to go where the applicants are.
Mhm.
So we are mobile first. So everything we do from an applicant point of view, we make sure it works on a phone, and then we build it for the desktop, because desktop is only like a very small percentage of users that actually apply through desktop. So mobile first is very, very important. What we made sure is we don't force people to download any apps. It has to be mobile web, right? Like if you have a browser, it should just work. The experience is completely passwordless with magic links. Nobody needs to create an account for you to go through the application process. And we are big on communication. We talked about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
we are big on back and forth communication, a lot of automation. And again, these are features that is universally being appreciated by our customers. Did I answer your question, or should
Yeah,
I go on?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think we are almost up with the time. Just one last question. So I think your job as a country head of your venture, I think the job is nothing short of entrepreneurial. So I'd like to hear your message for future entrepreneurs. What are the different lessons or more interesting lessons that you have learned that other entrepreneurs can take away and probably apply to their ventures?
Absolutely. I think one thing I would focus on is uh, finding a problem space and making sure that if you build something, there is a market is key, right? That would be the first thing. Make sure if you build something, people should be willing to use because it solves a real problem, right? Sometimes I've seen there is a tendency to get distracted by the latest cool thing in
Mhm.
technology, and then people try to figure out, okay, how do I use this technology to build something, and the something happens to be maybe people really don't care about the problem, right? You should always work backwards, right? What is the need? What are the set of problems? Work backwards. Okay, what is the solution? Okay, so if this is the solution for this problem, let's figure out what the technology should be, what the approach should be. I think that's key, right? Like, always work from the customer's pain point. You will definitely succeed. That's something I want to make sure everybody understands.
Got it. Well, on this note, we'll end the session. Thanks for your time, Mr. Om, and it was a pleasure to have you on our platform.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me a chance to come and talk to you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Om.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.